So our speaker for today is Damola Awoniran. Damola Awoniran. Damola Awoniran is a grant writer and project manager. She is a grant writer, project manager, and EdTech thought leader dedicated to securing funding and building sustainable impact for education and social development projects across Africa. Currently serving as grant writer and project manager at Koolbooks, Damola manages the full life cycle of grant-funded projects from proposal development and submission through implementation and compliance reporting. She has written 17 plus grant proposals for EdTech, sustainable energy, and community-based initiatives, bringing strategic funding expertise to organizations seeking to scale their impact. As a founder of Nigeria's READ, an NGO committed to educational equity, Damola has contributed learning materials to over 300 students in underserved Nigerian communities. This hands-on experience informs her approach to grant writing. She understands the real-world challenges that funding must address and translates community needs into compelling, data-driven proposals that resonate with funders. With a background in English language education and experience teaching 150 plus students across multiple Nigerian schools, Damola brings a unique perspective to funding landscape. She has witnessed firsthand the resource gaps in African education and public health systems, which drives her commitment to helping organizations secure the capital they need to create lasting change. Damola is also an international speaker, having presented on women in tech Harley Ghana, and education innovation across Africa. She's passionate about equipping early career professionals and grassroots organizations with the skills to navigate complex funding landscapes, develop winning proposals, and build sustainable programs that outlast initial grant cycles. Her work sits at the intersection of funding strategy, impact measurement, and community development, helping mission-driven organizations transform ideas into funded, scalable solutions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Damola Awoniran. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Good evening, everyone, and Eid Mubarak to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Good evening, everybody. If I started to be here, let me see your emoji. Let me see your emoji. Good evening, everybody. I am so excited to be with you tonight. Give me some minutes to share my screen. All right. Can you kindly confirm that you can see my screen, please?
See your screen.
All right. Thank you so much. So, before we dive into the main reason why we are here, let me just give a brief introduction about who I am, even though Daniel already did that. So I am Damola Awoniran, and I'm so excited to be here. Like I said earlier, I work as a grant writer and project manager at Koolbooks, and I've also founded NGO called Nigerians Read. And over the past few months, I've written over 20 grant proposals across different sectors, including EdTech, sustainable energy, and community health. Tonight, we are going to talk about grant writing basics. That is the foundational skills you need to start securing funding for your public health work. Let me tell you a bit more about my background so you can know where I'm coming from exactly. As mentioned earlier, I work in grants and project management, helping organizations secure funding and manage their funded projects from start to finish. I also founded Nigerians Read, an NGO focused on educational equity. And through that work, we've distributed learning materials to over 300 students in underserved communities across Nigeria. That experience taught me firsthand what it's like to need funding and to have to make a case for why your work matters. I'm here tonight, not as someone who knows everything about grant writing, but as someone who is in the trenches doing this work. And I want to share practical strategies that you can start using immediately. But before we move on, I would like to know, is there anyone here who has ever applied for a grant before? It's not necessarily for it to be in the public health sector. Has anybody here ever applied to any grant before, no matter how large the amount was or no matter how small the amount was? Anybody? Anybody? All right, I'll take that as a no. So that is why this session is very, very important. Now, before we dive into what grant writing is exactly, let's talk about where funding comes from. Now, grant writing. So you can hear me. I think I'm having a network issue. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much. Now, let's talk about where funding comes from. There are 4 main sources, and understanding this will help you target the right funders for your work. And the first is government grants. In Nigeria, this includes the TED Fund. I think university students are very familiar with TED Fund. We've definitely heard of TED Fund before, one way or the other. We also have the NUC, that is the National University Commission, and we have state health ministries. These funders, they tend to have very specific areas. Are looking for research, infrastructure development, or programs that align with national health priorities. The application processes are often lengthy. There are always lots of documents. They could take quite a long time to finish submission. But the advantage is that government grants can be very substantial and recurring if you deliver results. The second is foundations. We have Gates Foundation, Welcome to Us, MacArthur Foundation. Now, these people are your private philanthropic organizations. And some of these are very health specific because they only fund health work. And others are more general, but have health programs within their portfolios. Foundations, they're often faster than government grants. Government grants requires lots of documentations and rest. But foundations, on the other hand, they move faster than government grants, and they can be very flexible in what they fund. They're looking for innovation, impact, and alignment to their specific mission. So that means what Gates Foundation is looking for, MacArthur Foundation might not be looking for it. Each foundation has their own priorities, so you must make a little bit of research. The third, we have corporate sponsorships. That is funding that come from companies through corporate social responsibility, that is CSR. We have pharmaceutical companies, they often fund health research and community health programs if it aligns with their business and reputation goals. Think about companies like MTN Foundation, Dangote Foundation, Access Bank's healthcare programs. Corporate funding can be excellent for pilot programs or even community-based initiatives. They often want visibility and community engagement. So if your project can deliver that along with your health impact, you are a very good fit. And the fourth, we have international organizations. These are massive funders with significant health portfolios. And the catch, they are extremely competitive. They are competing with organizations globally. I'm talking about WHO, UNICEF, DIV Fund. Their application processes are very rigorous because it is very competitive. But if you can secure funding from these sources, it brings credibility, because at least if anybody here that you've secured funding from UNICEF before, they're like, oh yeah, that means your work is very legit. They want to actually fund you. So they bring credibility. Now, here's my advice. Don't just spray and pray. Don't just apply anyhow and pray that you actually get picked. Don't, because funders would actually know that, okay, this is not according to our call for proposal. So before you write any grant application, research, and research. Research which funders actually align with your work. Because, take for instance, WHO might be looking for applications for, let's say, in Nigeria, their call for proposal is saying something like for children, specifically children initiatives. And UNICEF, on the other hand, might be looking for youth. They might be looking for 18 to 35 years. So there's no way your application, which is written and designed specifically for children, there's no way to fit UNICEF's call for proposal. So that is why it is very essential that you make research. Don't just assume that, okay, I'm looking for a public health initiative, okay, I have one, and you apply. No, it is not like that. You have to research. What do they want? What will they fund? Now, let's get into the structure of a grant proposal. Every strong proposal has the same basic component. Think of this as your blueprint. The first is the executive summary. This is very, very essential. When I mean essential, I mean extremely important. This is typically one page, like 300 to 500 words max. And this page is what many funders will only read, because this executive summary is like the summary of everything that you want to do. Program officers are reviewing hundreds of applications, thousands even. So if the executive summary doesn't grab them, they are definitely not reading the rest. Your executive summary needs to contain the entire story. I'm talking about the problem you want to solve, your solution, who benefits from this solution, how much will it cost, what does success look like? All of that, you have to make sure you write them into just one page. As a matter of fact, some funders will say 1,200 characters. Some don't use words, they will say characters. Some will say a page, and some they don't have limits. But oftentimes, they always say between 300 to 500 words maximum. And I personally, I usually write this executive summary last, even though it comes first in the proposal. Once I've finished writing everything, then I will now distill the key points into this executive summary. Think of it like your abstract for your academic paper. When you want to write an academic paper, it could be your thesis, it could be your undergraduate dissertation. Your abstract is the first thing you will see before the introduction, but it is the last thing that your supervisor will tell you to write. That is how important executive summary is. And the second, we have the problem statement. Now, this problem statement is where we prove that this problem that I want to solve, it is very real, it is urgent, and it is what? It is solvable. I mean, in this statement, you need data, you need urgency. You need to make the funder feel like, oh no, this problem cannot wait. Listen to this example. Malaria is a problem in Nigeria. Obviously, you all know malaria is a problem in Nigeria. Who doesn't know? I mean, once in your lifetime, or I mean, if not even the once, you've had malaria before. So yes, you know that it is a very big problem in Nigeria. So just writing this, even I as a funder will not fund it, because it is something it's something I know. It is very vague, it is very weak. Nobody will fund such problem statements. But on the other hand, listen to this. In Kano State, malaria accounts for 35% of outpatient visits and 25% of child mortality. Rural bed net distribution is at 40%, well below the 80% needed for community protection. Without intervention, 15,000 children under 5 remain at high risk. Can you see the difference? Can you compare it with the one I said before? Malaria is the problem in Nigeria. Can you just oppose the two problem statements? Which one would you fund? Obviously the second one, because it is very specific. There is a specific location in Kano State. There is data. WHO 2025. There is a clear gap between what is and what should be. That is 40% bed net distribution as against the 80% bed net distribution that should be. And there's a quantified risk. 15,000 children under 5 remain at high risk. This is what creates a very strong problem statement. Always quantify where necessary. As a matter of fact, know your numbers, know current data. Any initiative you want to write about, any problem you want to solve, your solution should have data to back it up, not just claims. You should have data that if funder will go and research and they'll be like, yeah, this is true. Don't just bring up a number that you can't defend. Because if eventually you even get the fund, and later the funders realize that the problem is not as urgent as it made it seem, you are going to lose credibility, and we don't want that. Now, the next, your proposed solution. This is where you explain exactly what you're going to do. And I mean exactly. We improve maternal health. That is very vague. We improve maternal health. Okay, how will we improve it? Anybody can say they will do something and, without a clear structure, how are you going to do it? Compare it to, we will train 50 health community workers in 10 rural clinics to provide prenatal care, nutrition counseling, and safe delivery support over 18 months. You see, that one is very specific. So your proposed solution should not be very vague. It should not be vague at all, no matter how little vague it is. It should not be vague. It should not be generic. It should be exact. Like, what do you want to do exactly? Not, I want to stop, want to look for a drug to, cure HIV. Anybody can say that. I mean, how would you actually cure it? We need something exact, something specific. Funders want to know, what will you do? How will you do it? Where will it happen? Is it in Nigeria? In Nigeria, where in Nigeria? Is it in Southwest? Is it in the East? Is it in the North? How long will it take? Are we talking about a year? Are we talking about a year and a half? Are we talking about 2 years? Why is this solution the right approach? I mean, there are a lot of approaches that you could have taken to solve this solution. So why this particular solution? Be detailed as you can be. Be specific. Because vague proposals, they get rejected even before they even get to the budget. This is very vague. No, it is not possible. It can't work. Funders, if funders can't visualize what you want to do with their money, they would not accept your grant proposal. The next on the list, we have goals and objectives. And your goals need to be very smart. What do I mean by smart? I'm saying specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Not just reduce malaria cases, but reduce malaria cases in District X by 30% within 18 months, measured through clinic data. That is what's very specific. It is measurable, it is achievable, relevant, and time-bound within 18 months. The difference is that the second one tells us, it tells the funder exactly how you will know that you've already succeeded. They can hold you accountable. And as a matter of fact, good funders want to hold you accountable because they want to see impact. And I believe the reason you're even applying for a grant in the first place is to do what? To create impact. Now, the next, we have the budget. This is where so many proposals fail. Your budget needs to be realistic, detailed, and justified. Don't just list numbers. I mean, explain why each cost is necessary. We are going to train community health workers, 50 of them. We need to budget $20,000 for that. We want to buy solar panels for clinics. They don't have power. We need to power these clinics. At least 20 clinics. We are budgeting $100,000. Be specific. And as I'm being specific, make sure that the amount you're asking for is not too high or too low. If you're asking for funding for community health workers, break it down. How many workers? What is their monthly stipend? How many months? Training costs, transportation, as a matter, because you cannot do everything by foot. Transportation costs, supervision. Show your math. And here's a critical mistake I see. If your budget is too high or suspiciously low, it's going to create suspicion. If your budget is too high, people will think this person is too wasteful. How can you budget $1 million for something that you can do with 100,000? And if it is too low, on the other hand, they'll be like, you yourself, you don't believe in what you want to do, because how can you budget 10,000 for something that you need at least 100,000 to do? So your budget should match your proposed activities exactly. And we also have the M&E, that is the monitoring and evaluation. How will you measure success? What indicators will you track? How often will you collect data? And as a matter of fact, how will you report to the funder? Because funders want to see that this is exactly what you use their money to do. This is the change you use their money to do. They want to see the impact. They want to see how you're measuring the impact. If you cannot measure your impact, then you cannot prove that you've actually made impact. And if you cannot prove it, there is no way you will get future funding. Your M&E plan should include both output indicators, that is what you did, and outcome indicators, that is what changed. What changed because of what you did. For example, we trained 50 health workers. That is an output. That is what you did. Now, we reduced maternal mortality by 20%. That is an outcome. That is what changed from what you did. Funders care most about outcomes. And the last on this, we have sustainability. And this is a question we get in almost every proposal. What happens when our funding ends? For instance, if this grant application is 2 years, if it's a 2-year timeline, after that 2 years, when we stop giving you the grant money, what is going to happen? Will it just die? How will you continue to fund your initiative? They don't want to create dependency. They want to catalyze change that will last. So you need to think about it. Will the community take ownership of this initiative? Will the government absorb costs? Will you generate revenue? Will other funders step in? Are you going to apply for more grants? And even if you don't have all these answers, you just need to show them that you've thought about sustainability strategically, because there's no way you do something without thinking long term. You can't just think short term and mid term. You have to think long term as well. Before we move to the next slide, I would love to see your emojis so I can know that we are still on the same track. Can I get an emoji if you are following? Anybody? Thank you, Aishat. Now, finding opportunities. Where exactly do you even see this grant we are talking about? We're talking about grants, talking about the important things, the basic things that are necessary in grants writing, in grants application. So where exactly will you see these grants we're talking about? And I need you to bookmark these platforms. The first is fundsforngos.org. I use this one myself. I use it. That is what I use. That is my go-to platform. As a matter of fact, I still use it yesterday for my office work. They send daily emails with funding opportunities, and you can just go to the website and just search through the website. You can filter the applications by sector, by region, by countries, by what you do. As a matter of fact, you can even filter for an application for youth, application for women, applications for children, stuff like that. And it is particularly good for African-focused opportunities. The next, we have global giving. This is more crowdfunding mixed with grants. It is not just grants. It is a mixture of grants and crowdfunding. But it is a very good starting point for smaller organizations building a funding track record. And the next is DevEx. If you're looking at international development funding, DevEx has a comprehensive database. It requires a subscription though, but you can also use the free version. It gives you lead. The next is Foundation Directory Online. This one is good for This one is good for US-based foundation research. If you're looking into the US, this is your go-to platform. You can search by location, by funding area, grant size. It's very useful by targeting American foundations. And also, don't forget your government health ministries websites. I'm talking about that fund. I'm talking about state health ministries. I'm very familiar with Lagos State though, but you can look into other states as well. They often post calls for proposals. So it's advisable that you set up Google Alerts so you are going to be notified when new opportunities come in. Beyond platform, follow the right people and organizations. I don't know, I can't emphasize this enough. You need to follow people that are moving in the same way as you are. Follow health funders. Follow people on LinkedIn that you know that they often announce funding. They often announce opportunities for public health sector. There are even some people like that on X as well. And follow WHO, UNICEF, Gates Foundation, Welcome to Us. These people are on LinkedIn and they're also on X, formerly Twitter. So follow them. The moment they drop, as a matter of fact, when you follow them, you can on notifications. So anytime they drop new opportunities, you are going to be among the first people that will know. So you can apply early. Join grant writing platforms on LinkedIn as well. There's some grant writing groups on LinkedIn that you can join for better visibility. And people also share opportunities, ask questions, and give advice. There's a community on Facebook where you can join. And when you join, they often post health funders on LinkedIn. Now, don't just apply code. Don't just, okay, I saw this application, I want to just apply and forget about it. Don't do that. It is advisable that you email whichever contacts you see on the application website, email them, ask them, is this project, I want to meet this project, this initiative, is this a good fit for your priorities? Most program officers, they would rather tell you upfront that, okay, this application, no, we're not currently accepting proposals of this, but this is what we're accepting. Probably later around June, when we open a new call for proposal, reach out to you. So before you even waste your time just applying anywhere, it is advisable that you reach out to program officers. I will also share a detailed list of platforms in the toolkit at the end, so you have all this bookmarked in one place. Now, common mistakes people make. Let me save you time and frustration by telling you the top 5 reasons grant proposals get rejected. And the funny thing is, I've made almost all the mistakes in this. I've made almost all of them. The first one is missing the deadline. See, this sounds obvious, but it happens all the time. You're working on a proposal, but it's taking longer than expected. Did you know that probably you need your budget, or you need the report, or you need your certificate of, different things. Applications usually ask for things that even you yourself at times, you would be surprised. Time is running out. And before you know, you already missed the deadline. There's no excuse. And the worst part, funders they will not want to listen to how sad it is, or I didn't know, it's not my fault, I was waiting for, they will not want to hear it. So it is best that you set reminders 2 weeks before. As a matter of fact, I usually do this. I have 2 deadlines, internal deadline and the website deadline. What do I mean by internal deadline? If this application is closing May 30th, my internal deadline will be May 15th. That is 2 weeks from the main deadline. So when you give yourself an earlier deadline, you're going to work towards that early deadline, and it will give you more time to revise and to make corrections and also avoid missing deadline. And I also advise, don't submit application on the day it's going to close, because the website might be shaky. It might, there might be a lot of traffic. So as to avoid stories that touches the heart, it is advisable to always submit before the deadline. The second mistake, ignoring the funder's guideline. This one happens a lot, and it is often people that don't read or make research. You know, when people say, when they say you want just 5 pages, anything you want to say, anything you want to write, you should not exceed 5 pages. Don't submit 6 pages. Don't submit 10. If they want a specific budget format, and most of these big applications, they usually have their own specific budget format. Once they give you that budget format, don't use another format. Don't create your own format. Use the one on the website. Because following instruction is even the first test. If you cannot follow simple application guidelines, why should a funder trust you to manage their money responsibly? Mistake number 3, weak problem statement. I think we already said this earlier. If you cannot create urgency, the rest of your application does not matter. You need to convince the funder that this problem needs solving, and it needs solving now. When I mean now, I mean immediately. Use stories. That is one thing my boss usually say, storytelling. There's no way somebody will explain a problem for you in a story format that will not be touched. Use stories. When I mean stories, I'm not saying AI stories that is not realistic. I'm talking realistic stories. Use stories to create your problem statement. Now, the next mistake, unrealistic budget. Either you're asking for way too much money, or you're proposing something that you're asking for. Let's say you want to in this community, the public hospital in this community, you know, they don't have power, they don't have basic health care necessities. So you want to more like refurbish the hospital, and you're asking for 1 million. What will 1 million realistically do for your whole clinic? It is not possible. So make sure that your budget is what it is realistic. It fits what you want to do. You want to solve malaria problem. You're asking for 500,000. What exactly what do you want 500,000 to do? So whatever you're writing, whatever they are writing in your application, make sure the money you're asking for is realistic. Make sure the money you're asking for, it fits the problem you want to solve. And the next is no clear impact metric. That is M&E. There's no way you want to measure success. There's no way you can even manage it. If you can't prove impact, you will not get future funding. Your M&E plan, it needs to show exactly how you will track progress. When we refurbish this hospital, how will you not track that you are successful? How will you track progress? Funders want to see that. They want to know how you measure your success. Not just, I want to do this thing, give me money. It is very important. If I give you the money, how will you know that it is even successful? You need to convince funders that you know what you are doing. If you can avoid these 5 mistakes, I'm telling you, you're already ahead of many applicants. I think I've said this earlier, but let me just restate, because this is very important. Problem statements are very important. A quick example, malaria is a problem in Nigeria that affects many people. We need to address this. No data, no urgency. If anybody can read your problem statement and say, okay, so what? Just that you need to rewrite it. If you cannot create that, even you yourself, you read it, you'll be like, no, this problem needs to be solved immediately. We need to find a way to solve. If you yourself are not convinced, you give it to somebody to read, the person is not convinced, you know that you need to rewrite it. Problem statements are very important. They are as important as executive summary. Now, your 2 kids. Before we go to Q&A, I want to make sure that before you leave tonight, I want you to leave with practical tools you can start using immediately. I've created 3 resources for you. First, a grant opportunity tracker template. In this template, you are going to input the name of the application, what they're looking for, the funder, the date it will close, things like that. So you can track your applications. It is a very simple system for organizing every funding opportunity you get. Treat it like treat it like a pipeline. Treat grant hunting like a pipeline. Track everything. Follow up on everything. And you will notice that dramatically, you have improved your success rates. And the truth is, if you apply for these grants first time, they rejected it. Second time, don't feel sad. Don't say that, you know what, maybe I cannot do this. Let me just give up. No, don't give up. Don't give up. Because success in grant writing doesn't come as easy as that. And grant writing is very competitive. So the more you write, the better you get. And the better you get, the closer you are to getting funded. And the second thing I've prepared for you is a list of 20+ funding platforms, both Nigerian and international. And they're very specific to health and social impact work. Their platforms I actually use and recommend. So you don't need to worry. I myself, I use these platforms. You have all of them bookmarked in one place. And the third is a list of key health funders and organizations to follow, so that when opportunities come, you're really first to know. When they drop an opportunity, you are on the list of the first 10 people that knows about it and start applying immediately. If it fits your research interest, if it fits the problem you are solving, because it is not all grant that you see that you must apply for. If it does not match what you are doing, it does not match the solution, don't bother applying. Don't waste your time. Now, all these 3 will be shared with you after this session. I'll reach out to the facilitator and I'm going to share it with him so he can send it to everyone on this call. The tracker, especially the grant opportunity tracker templates, use it consistently. Even if you don't apply for an opportunity immediately, track it, because tracking builds your knowledge of what is out there. If you don't track it, how would you know? Because you might forget about it. Grant writing is a skill that you build over time. Your first proposal probably won't be perfect, and it is completely okay. It's your first time. It is okay. Just know that every application that you write, they teach you something. And every rejection, and like I said earlier, there will be rejections. They're even the most successful grant writer in the world definitely has had some rejection. So it is okay. Just know that you are learning something and you're getting closer to your success. The key is to what? The key is to start. Don't wait until you feel ready, because you will never get ready if you keep waiting to feel ready. Apply to small grants first. Don't wait for the big ones. Apply for the small ones first. $1,000, $5,000. Apply for them first. Build your confidence. Learn the process. Then scale to larger opportunities like the 5 million euros grant, the $4 million grant. Start small, then scale. All right, that is the overview of grant writing basics. I know that I covered a lot quickly, but I hope you now have a clearer sense of where funding comes from, what goes into a strong proposal, where to find opportunities, common mistakes to avoid, and practical tools to get you started. So now I would love to hear from you. I've said a lot. I want you to say something as well. I need to hear from you. What questions do you have? What aspects of grant writing feel challenging or unclear? What specific situation are you dealing with, so we can discuss? Oh yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. Let's open for discussion. Question time. All right, Aishat, we are waiting for you to ask your questions. I can see your hand raised.
Thank you so much, ma. So I want to ask about the competition in the space of grant writing. I know it will be quite competitive to make it to the top of being awarded the grant. So what are those strategies that someone can put in to get the grant? So that's my first question. Then my second question is how one can refine ideas to make it to can put forward as a project. You know, a lot of us have ideas that are flying around, but we can't really compile them. I know ideas are not too little to be put forward as a full project. So what are those things that someone can use to come up with something worthy? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your question, Aisha. So let's start with the first one. What are the things you can input into your grant writing to put you at least among the top 5 applicants so as to get the grant, if I'm correct? All right. So like I said earlier, the first step is to research. Don't just read the first page and believe that you already know everything about this application. Don't do that. When you send an application, after reading the website, check the frequently asked questions. Am I eligible for this application? There's some applications that will tell you that if you are not in Series B, we don't want. And what is Series B? You've already passed idea stage. You've already passed research and development stage. As a matter of fact, you're not just scaling. You're not just deploying. You want to scale. It means that you already have evidence that I've done this project before, so I want to scale. And you that you've never done anything for that, I still have an idea. You do not know, you just want to apply. Obviously, they won't choose it. So the first thing is to do what? To research. Look for the frequently asked questions. Check it. Do I fit this thing? When you yourself are convinced that, okay, I've checked this thing thoroughly and I'm sure, the next thing you do, go to any AI you're using. It could be Cloud, it could be ChatGPT, it could be Gemini, anyone you're using. Then go to the AI and say, yeah, this application, this grant application, let's assume it is call for proposal, initiative for children under the age of 15, WHO. I saw this application. It is for idea stage, idea to research and development. They are giving $5,000 for the project, and this is my solution. I'm telling you the prompt you would ask your chat box. This is my solution. Do I fit for the call for proposal? If I submit this project, what are my chances of winning? If not, are there anything I need to improve? Is there anything I need to do? Then the AI will tell you everything. Okay, your solution is okay, your project is okay, but do this, don't apply as this, apply as this. Do you get? So things like that would also make you a step above people that just search anyone automatically as I can do this one as a bit for children. And my project is not children, let me apply. No. When you check, ask AI too. AI will direct you. This way I can do this. Your solution is very okay, but instead of saying we are for children, say that yeah, we do children and you something like that. There's no way you present something to AI. So when it makes it better for you, and you also check the guidelines for application, you check everything. Some people will say, let's want to depression not more than a year. Some will say 3 years. You make sure you think everything with every box that application is looking for. Then the next thing you are going to do is to make sure you try to pack that AI. Send your writings to it. Great, these are written this, act like the program officer. and score this project among thousands of better projects and let me know my score. Let me know what I need to improve. There's no way you will do that you will not be a step above others. And the truth is, grant writing, you can never be sure. That is the painful part. You never be 100% sure that this application, I will win it. I never be 100% sure. When just now you do your best, and I mean your best at prayers. That is it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
All right, so the second question. Can you please tell me the second question again? I think I've forgotten.
Okay, ma. I was asking about how we can put in our ideas to make it worthy, to make it work for grant writing. Thank you.
Right. So now let's say that, like I said, there are different types of grants. There are different types of grants. Some are, as a matter of fact, if I write, you just write, there's a grant for you. If I poet, there's a grant for you. If I there's a grant for you. So there are different kinds of grants. It's not compulsory for you if you want to rebuild the hospital, or you want to cure HIV, or you want to stop maternal death. There are different types of grants. Now, let's assume that your solution is to increase the power in hospitals, because Nigerian electricity is very unreliable, and there are a lot of rural clinics that don't have access to electricity. And due to the fact that there's no electricity, there is increase in maternal death and also lack of basic healthcare in these clinics. And that is the problem that you want to solve. But you don't know how to put this idea together. Like I will say again, that's your idea. Just ask your chatbot. I have this idea. There's this thing I want to do, but I don't know how to put it together. As a matter of fact, I don't even know the grant that I should apply for with this my idea. And I know that my idea is a very good one. What should I do? If you take it to Claude will tell your idea. It will tell you how you can solve it. Realistically, it will tell you, okay, this is what you should do. This is how you should do. Now, when it tells you that, now, okay, now that we already have the idea, we have the solution, we have the problem. Which funders? Is there any grant out there that needs this idea? If there are, send them to me. It will send a list of grants that I'm looking for. Send it to me. Now, your own next step is to click on each and every one of those grants and check if you fit the requirements. They're looking for just idea page, or I must have tried before. Do I fit it? Do I have what they're looking for? There's no way you can. If you spend 10, after 10, you will start it's one or two that you can apply for. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, ma. Thanks so much. Thank
you. Okay, Chima, I see your hand up, Chima.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Damola, for this wonderful section. Sorry, I will just be very quick. For someone who is looking towards applying for grants, I don't know what certifications, or how will I put it, credibility in terms of maybe person's achievement, or will I say criteria or certifications in grant. And while applying for grants, is it that someone can apply as an independent candidate, or you must have to be a corporate entity? Then the second question is in terms of budgeting. For someone maybe who does not have experience, and I think experience in most of these sectors are what matters most. Because most times you may not really know the materials, and then maybe how to price, how to know the cost, and how to be able to. Another point now is how to estimate, getting the right estimation. Thank you. So how do you make up for that?
So I would answer the most easiest one. That is, can you apply as an independent body, or you must be able to, people. You can apply as an independent body. And I think I said it earlier that no matter your size, no matter your company size, no matter your qualification, there is a grant for you. So if I got a one-person team, there is definitely a grant for you. I want to solve this problem. This problem is very imminent in this particular region of this country. I want to solve it. As far as you know that you can do it, and you're not just sure that you can do it, just find them how you will do it. And how you do it is very realistic. Yes, you can get it. And the next question is, what certifications do you need? What are the things you need? So it depends on the size of the grant you are applying for. Let's compare Tony Elumelu Foundation grant. Let's compare it with FIT, Fund in Development. Tony Elumelu is an African-based. I think we all know Tony Elumelu. His grant is $5,000. And on the other end, we have Fund in Development. FID is a France-based application, and the highest amount they are given is 5 million euros. I mean 5 million euros. Can you compare 5 million euros to $5,000? No. So what someone that wants to give you 5 million in that sector, it will be different for what somebody that wants to give you 5,000. Because the money is like they are on different spectrum. So if you want to apply for TEF Foundation, you just need to drop certificate of your company that says, this is my company, we are registered, and your website. That is all. You don't need any other document to submit. On the other hand, of FID that wants to give you 5 million euros, there's a budget template. So doesn't have a budget template. They are going to drop evidences of impact. Crime evidence, they're asking for newspapers, they're asking for websites, they're asking for people that have invested in you before, they're asking for people that are your customers, your clients. You're also going to drop your, obviously, going to drop your certification of incorporation. You're also going to drop your tax identification. This is that I pay my tax regularly. You're going to drop the document. So you can see that what is different from what is asking for. What is asking for? Because money is obviously more. It is more than what they want to give you that. So that what they're asking for is also a lot. So it depends. Some will not ask you for a lot. Some just say, you want to do this thing. What is the name of your business? Even if it's just a one-person business or a one-person, you're an independent body. This is what I want to do. I've registered. I'm a registered person. I'm not a thief. I'm going to lose the money. Some will just even ask for NIN or your anyway they can verify that you're a real person, not a robot. So there's no specific document that you will like. You don't understand. So just if you want to do anything, the most basic thing they do ask for most of the time, your tax. That is if you have your business already generating revenue. They want to know that paying your tax. Your company, that a company that is established, you are claiming that it is established. Let us see your certificate of incorporation. Also, your NIN. At least there should be a way we can identify you so that you don't run away with our money. So something like that. Just get those necessary things. And also research on each application. Some will ask, some might not. I don't know if that answers the first question. And the third question, Chima, I am so sorry, I can't remember the first question. Could you kindly remind me?
Was on budgeting. Like for someone maybe like you're
all right, budget. Okay. So budgeting, what our advice is before you write anything down, ask. I want to install solar panels to 20 clinics in Ibadan or your state, general, your states. There are 20 rural clinics. You don't have solar, there's no light. So I want to install solar panel. Before you say I want to install solar panel, the first issue was ask how much is one solar panel? Okay, it is so amount. Okay. Now, how many panels will be able to conveniently generate electricity for a whole clinic that will power everything that is needed to be powered? If it is 10, okay, one solar panel is this. Now times 10 times that amount. Now one clinic is using 10 solar panels, and I want to do 10 or 20 clinics times it. Let's assume that you got 200 million. Now say that 200 million in Nigeria, the economic is not today. It might be 100 naira. Tomorrow it will be 200. Now, and then that is where you now add a little bit of amount that okay, just in case the price is no longer what we already estimated. 300 million, 100 million for in case of any necessity. Do you understand? Those funders also understand that okay, 300 million for 20 clinics is, and they know that okay, and the price of this is actually make that you mention the price in your solution so that they can know that okay, if one of these is using this times 10, okay, that's true. What is actually asking for is it can be 20. Do you understand? Chima,
yes, sorry. I was also asking about maybe estimation. Like there are things that experience can really make up for, maybe in terms of knowing the quality of materials to use and then to
okay, yeah, that is true.
On the pricing.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know if it is advisable as somebody that is just starting to have a financial partner because it really go a long way. I mean, for instance, you're in the public health sector, you don't really know much about money, you don't really know much about, when they start speaking all this financial jargon, you don't really know how much business, and it is a financial person that helps you to build your budget. So it is advisable to have somebody. It could be a friend. I don't for you to employ somebody, you have to be paying, even because you are still a beginner. It's not very having income on your idea. So it's probably a friend that can help you with the financial. And financial people they at least no matter how little you're just starting, they will see at least have ideas on how to do financial reporting. So as to make sure that your budget, your estimation, they are not unreasonably overpriced or ridiculously underpriced. Do you understand?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glorious Kate, I can see your hands up as well. Glorious, are you? We can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay. Hello. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good morning. Thanks so much for this wonderful presentation. So my question is about letter of inquiry. So I did a little bit into grant writing, though I didn't go much further enough to even secure a grant. I'm still trying to find my way around it. And I've been seeing some of these organizations, some of the funders requesting for letters of inquiry. These are the tips for how to, write letters of inquiry so that you are considered and then asked to now apply for the grants fully.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay. Yes,
also, another question is about the use of AI. So I don't know, especially when writing, there are certain rules or some guidelines. Maybe they'll say that you should not use AI. I don't know. Have you encountered that in grant writing? Do funders usually ask that you should not use AI generated contents? So I just want to know about that. Thank you.
All right, let me start the AI, concerning the AI. So like I said earlier, I said when you get your idea and you're only sure you fit into this, you fit into the you know that you can apply it. You write the application. Because most of these funders, they also know that AI is now a common thing everywhere. So it is, and they can easily recognize AI jargon. So it is best that you write it yourself. But if, no matter how rough it is, you can make it, better. But asking AI to help you write it from the beginning to the end, it is not advisable because they will definitely think that this one, it is AI generated. But when it is right, yes, you wrote it yourself. And the only thing you needed AI for is just to, probably make it fit better into what the funders are looking for, or to make it, more and more compelling. Only that, I think. But using AI with everything, it is a no. As a matter of fact, some applications, they will even tell you, in this application, do not use AI. So it is best you write it with your head, you write, because at least it is your idea. You are the only one that knows your idea best. So it is better for you to write it yourself. And you can only ask AI to make it more compelling or to make it more fitting for the particular problem. I don't know if that answers your question, Glorious. Hi, Glorious.
Oh, yes, it does. It answers it. Thank you.
All right. So the next question is
the network. Sorry, the network is a bit hazy, so I didn't get what you said.
All right. I said your second question was how to write a letter of inquiry, right?
Yes.
So, well, we learn every day. But I as a person, I actually haven't really come across any about writing letters of inquiry. At most, they will say concept notes. Write a concept notes for this your idea. Then, if it is what I'm looking for, you're going to write the full. And concept note is basically it is still what you want. It is still a grant.
Sorry, Glorious, can you please mute your mic? We're having feedback.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. So, like I was saying, concept note is basically still the same thing as your grant application. It is not the shorter version. Concept note is this is what we are doing. This is the problem. This is how I come in. This is what will happen at the end of this project that I want to do. And this is how it aligns with what you want to fund. That is concept note in summary. So it is, I would say, I don't want to say it is more common to come across concept notes. I would rather say I've only come across concept notes. So letter of inquiry is more like it's more like a new knowledge for me as well. But from the name inquiry, I would assume that it is more like you want to ask for information about something, probably about the opportunity or the the grant application itself. So you want to ask for something regarding the grants that you want to apply for. Is that right, Glorious?
Yes, it's just about that. Usually for the ones I've seen, I used to find it on the website of the funders. It's like sometimes like it comes like a form. Sometimes like they ask you to write an email. But honestly, because I'm not very familiar with how to go about it, I just used to use AI to just try.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. And well, from my little research here, because I had to make a good research about it, because like I said earlier, I haven't come across any application that asked me to write letter of inquiry. Even from the website I use, they've never asked me to write a letter of inquiry. But from my little research here, it is basically like your normal letter, like writing a letter to normal formal letter. I think like the usual formal letters. Just this one is asking for information about a particular grant opportunity or the grant that you're looking for as an individual or as a researcher. So yeah, it is saying that the basic structure of a letter of inquiry is we all know the first thing is your address and your date. Like I said, it's not really different from the typical letter. It's not different from the typical formal letter, but I think you all know how to do that. Just that the body of this is different. The body of an inquiry letter is you have to ask specific questions. Be specific because it is an inquiry. They're asking an inquiry regarding a particular opportunity. So you have to ask them, what exactly do you want to know about these grants? What exactly do you want to know? I saw this grant application and I want to know if it is for idea stage. I want to know if it is for R&D stage. I want to know if it's for Series A, Series B, stuff like that. Ask what exactly you want to know. And you have to be very clear. Don't use English that they will be like, okay, just be very clear and straightforward. This is what I want to know. This is what I'm looking for. And also use numbers. Use number points. If you want to ask multiple things, don't say also this and this. I would like to know number 1, X, Y, Z, number 2, X, Y, Z, number 3, X, Y, Z. So literally, from my little research here, that's what I got. I don't know if it was helpful, Glorious.
Oh yes, it's been helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. David, I see you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Damola. It was a very insightful session. Personally, I learned a whole lot, and of course, it sort of renewed my interest in doing putting out applications for grants. And I really would like to say thank you so much. It was a very, very wonderful session. So yeah, I just thought to sort of chime in into the conversation about letter of inquiry. So just from the little information and knowledge I've always had, letter of inquiry is usually more or less like, oh, so if there's a particular organization gives a funder, right? They give grants to organizations maybe every year, right? And you have a project that you're not certain, you're not so sure that this project would like literally align with the overarching goals of the funder, and you're just thinking that it may align, and you want to just be sure. So you probably would just draft like sort of a letter and send to those funders to ask them. You just give some little details about the project you intend to carry out, or the proposal you have, more or less like a summary of your proposal. Then you send it to the the funders rather, and you can even ask them, oh, is it okay for you to submit a full proposal? It's more or less like, oh, you're trying to be sure that whatever it is you are doing aligns with the goals of the funder, and just like as it sounds, inquiry. You're trying to be sure you're making inquiry. So yeah, so that's I just thought to just put that in. But thank you so much and well done.
Wow, thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. You see, we learn every day, because I also just learned something new. Thank you so much, David and Igrius, for teaching me something new as well. I'm so glad and grateful. Thank you so much. So now I can also try writing letters of inquiry if necessary. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, I just saw this question in the chat box by Samson. The first question is, using stories in grants, how much should a grant proposal feel like a company story versus a technical document? All right, let's answer that first. So storytelling is not you just narrating story like you're looking for an award for the best story writer. It is more like using story to express your problem, and so like the problem you want to solve and your solution. So instead of just saying that in Nigeria, 80% of 80% of people and businesses don't have access to electricity. So households, there's no power. That's like, I was just saying that. I mean, it is more like, yeah, I know, okay. But to add storytelling makes it more, I don't know, it makes it feel more personal, more relatable in some way. Like, imagine this in Lagos, Nigeria. Mama Amina sells fish, and she spends 5,000 every day on buying ice just to make her fish stay cold, even amidst the sun, amidst the very hot sun of Nigerian markets. And this relates to thousands of other Mama Aminas in thousands of markets in Nigeria informal food sector. This story, I feel like storytelling makes it more relatable. Like, okay, yes, I can actually feel the pain of Mama Amina. I can feel the pain these people are going through. That doesn't mean that if you don't use story, it's not still. It doesn't mean that your proposal will not work. I just feel like storytelling makes it more relatable. Like, you feel more emotional. After all, every human being are emotional people. Just at the end of the day, we try to use logic to justify whatever we do. But for us, we are emotional beings. So I feel like storytelling makes it more, personal, more relatable, more. That's true. Do you get? I don't know if that answers your question. So the next one is where is the line between persuasive narrative and a serious document? Okay, so just because you want to use storytelling format doesn't mean your document should not be a very serious one. I mean, you are solving a very challenging problem. I assume your solution is solving a challenging problem. You don't want it to sound too unserious or too, there should be a balance between it being persuasive, and as a persuading them, also make sure that your document is compelling, make sure that it is relevant, make sure it is relatable. So everything has to work hand in hand. There should be a balance. Do you get? Not that it is more persuasive and less serious, or more storytelling and less technical. There should be a balance between the both of them. I don't know if that answers your question. Also, question number 2. You mentioned AI and how much the use of AI impacted grant writing negatively. How much has the use of AI impacted grant writing negatively or positively in my own personal story? So, the world is going AI now. I mean, artificial intelligence. I'm very sure there's a point in time that we've all used AI. It doesn't even need to be ChatGPT. It could be Grammarly, it could be Koolbooks, any AI that I want to use. So one way or the other, you've used AI before. So I would say it depends on how you use it. That would determine the impact, whether it is negative or positive. So it depends on how you're using AI. Are you using it in a way that would, because I feel AI even helps when you want to make I mean, like I said earlier, you've done your research, you have your idea, but you don't have to make it sound more true. You don't have to make it sound more compelling. You can just say, this is my idea, this is what I do. Can you just, help me to refine it for refinement? Not that AI will now generate the idea, not that AI will now tell you everything you want to do from start to finish. No, there should be a line that you should not cross. AI should just be for refinement. So I don't know if that also answers your question as well. So Samson, I really hope that answers your question. I don't know if you're still on the call, Samson. Could you help us to know if that answers your question, or if you need to make more explanation? Samson, are you still with us? All right, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that I was able to help you. And also thank you so much for being part of this session. Thank you so much for your time. All right, Samson, do you want to say something? I saw that you raised your hand earlier. Samson, do you want to tell us something? Samson? All right, I'll take that as a no. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to hand over to the coordinator of this session. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Damola, for that very insightful session. I believe I speak for everybody when I said we've learned a whole lot. I was going to say 18 or 2, but we've learned more than 18 or 2 from today's session. It was really, really insightful, enlightening, and educating as well. So thank you very much for taking our time to share from your wealth of knowledge on the subject matter for today. Thank you very much once again. So also I'd like to appreciate each and every one of us for taking our time to be part of this session. I'm sure, like I said, we've learned a lot from today's session and across the other sessions that we've had throughout the PHIGA capacity building program for 2026. Overall, I think it was a very, very, very wonderful event. I would like to appreciate everyone for participating. I appreciate our facilitators and PHIGA as a whole for putting this together. I believe all of the skills that we've learned will build our capacity, which it has intended for us to be very much better public health professionals, public health leaders in Africa. Okay, so hopefully this is an annual thing that we'll do, maybe even more than maybe annual, depending on how the team decides to move them take it on moving forward. But like I said, it's something that we hope we'll have another edition of it because it is really, really insightful. So thank you very much once again. And then for all of the sessions we've had throughout this program, I believe if you register for the program, we have your details. So all of the materials, the documents, the slides that has been used throughout the sessions will be made available to each and every one of us that registers for it. So we can go over it again and then gain much more clarity on all of the various subjects matters that have been handled throughout the session. So once again, thank you very much everybody for being part of this. And you will hear from PHIGA, and I hope to see you guys on the next edition. I hope that you'll be able to take all of the skills you've learned, and then utilize them practically, because that is really, really important. It's one thing to learn and get information and knowledge, and it's another thing to actually apply said knowledge into our everyday lives and then tax as it relates to public health in Africa. So I hope I'm able to do that. And once again, thank you very much. Have a wonderful night and see you guys later. Bye.